Welcome, and thank you for joining today's webinar presented by the Global Legal Entity Identifier Foundation, in short, GLEIF. First, a personal introduction. I'm Claire Rowley, Head of Business Operations for GLEIF, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. I'm joined by three of my GLEIF colleagues, Stefan Wolfe, GLEIF CEO, Anja Leschner, GLEIF Head of Service Management, and Christoph Schneider, GLEIF Head of IT Development and Operations. I hope you've all familiarized yourselves with the webinar housekeeping points on the initial slide and also included in your invites. We invite you to submit questions throughout the webinar via the chat function you see on the webinar dashboard. Please send your questions to all panelists. During today's webinar, we'll address a number of topics. First, for those joining us today who are not fully familiar with GLEIF, we'll provide a brief introduction to our organization and also the concept of the Legal Entity Identifier, or the LEI for short. If you need more information on who we are and what we do, you can find it on the GLEIF website. We'll then take the opportunity to remind market participants of the new European Union rules that require a significant number of entities, both within and outside the EU, to obtain an LEI. These new rules will take effect on 3rd January 2018. Impacted entities that don't yet have an LEI must act now. Our webinar also offers insight on how we continuously increase the information available within the LEI data pool and make it ever easier to access this information. We do this so data users, such as those joining today, are able to connect the corporate dots globally. One of the key objectives of the LEI initiative is to create more accurate and better quality entity data. This is only possible, however, if open, trusted, and reliable data is available. We will outline during this webinar how this objective is met as a result of GLEIF's Data Quality Management Program. And lastly, we'll summarize the main findings of a new research paper into LEIs carried out by McKinsey & Company and GLEIF. This white paper identifies that LEI usage can deliver savings, efficiencies, and greater reliability in entity verification, with a combined annual value of $650 million to the financial services industry. So, let's begin with a brief recap of GLEIF. In June 2014, the Financial Stability Board established GLEIF to support the implementation and use of the LEI. GLEIF is a supranational, not-for-profit organization tasked to manage the only open, non-proprietary entity identification system designed as a public good. We are responsible for ensuring the operational integrity of the global LEI system. The Foundation is backed and overseen by the LEI Regulatory Oversight Committee. This committee represents public authorities from around the globe that have come together to drive forward transparency within global financial markets. GLEIF is, by its statutes, agnostic to any particular commercial or political interests. In a nutshell, GLEIF provides the only global online source that offers open, standardized, and high-quality legal entity reference data. By doing so, we enable people and businesses to make smarter, less costly, and more reliable decisions about who to do business with. So now let's move on to the LEI and have a closer look, starting with what the definition is of the LEI. It's a 20-digit alphanumeric code based on the ISO 17442 standard developed by the International Organization for Standardization. It connects to key reference information that enables clear and unique identification of legal entities participating in financial transactions. One of GLEIF's key responsibilities is to provide access to the full global LEI repository free of charge to users via an open data license. We do this by making available the Global LEI Index. This contains historical and current LEI records in one authoritative central repository. It's the only online source that provides open, standardized, and high-quality legal entity reference data with the potential to capture any entity engaging in financial transactions globally. In essence, the publicly available LEI data pool can be regarded as a global directory, which significantly enhances transparency in the global marketplace. If you'd like to know more about how to access the wealth of information available within the public LEI data pool, we will be giving a bit more detail later in the webinar. So it is now my pleasure to give the floor to GLEIF's CEO, Stefan Wolfe. Stefan will outline the LEI requirements which apply to the forthcoming revised Markets and Financial Instruments Directive, or MiFID II for short, and Regulation MiFIR. Stefan?
Thank you, Claire, and welcome everybody on the line. I believe we would all agree that we find ourselves in the middle of the heat. MiFID II and MiFIR, which cover trading venues, investment firms, and intermediaries, will take effect 3rd January 2018, full stop. The MiFID II MiFIR implementation legislative acts require a significant number of actors to obtain an LEI, many of which are currently under no such obligation. ESMA, the European Securities and Markets Authority, has been very clear with regard to transaction reporting under MiFIR. Investment firms should obtain LEIs from their clients before providing services which would trigger reporting obligations in respect of transactions carried out on behalf of these clients. In other words, failure to obtain an LEI by either the firm or its clients in time will prevent firms from being able to comply with the reporting requirements applicable in the EU as of 3rd January 2018. And to be absolutely clear, this will also apply to non-European entities in many, many cases. If you're wondering what the impact of not compliance or non-compliance with the MiFID MiFIR requirements might be, many market observers have stressed that no LEI, no trade is the rule of the game. In October 2017, ESMA published a briefing on the LEI. It was part of its efforts to raise industry awareness and facilitate compliance with LEI requirements under the new EU rules. With this publication, ESMA stressed that it expects, and please let me quote directly, market participants to take all necessary steps to ensure full compliance with the LEI requirement under MiFID II. End quote. All LEI issuing organizations, known to many of you as LOUs, are standing ready to assist all legal entities wishing to obtain an LEI. These LEI issuers supply registration, renewal, and other services. They act as the primary interface for legal entities wishing to obtain an LEI. A legal entity is not limited to using an LEI issuer in its own country. Instead, it can use the registration services of any local operating unit that is accredited and qualified to validate LEI registrations within its jurisdiction. The global LEI system is designed to encourage competition between the LEI issuers. This is to the benefit to legal entities seeking to obtain an LEI. However, and I think this is quite important, we cannot guarantee that LEIs will be issued in time for the application of MiFID II and MiFIR if registration is delayed any further. Impacted market participants that still require an LEI in order to comply with MiFID MiFIR must act now. And to help with that and to further streamline the issuance of LEIs, GLEIF has introduced the concept of a registration agent. This allows organizations to help their clients access the network of LEI issuing organizations. If you'd like to get more information on how to find an LEI issuing organization or how to become a registration agent, please do visit the GLEIF website. And Claire, with this, I would like to hand back to you.
Thank you, Stefan. We'll now move on to give you an update on key services provided by GLEIF to ensure that the LEI data pool generates maximum value to you all. I'll pass over to Anja Leschner, GLEIF Head of Service Management. Anja will outline how you're now able to use the Global LEI Index to source enhanced and more reliable business card information on legal entities. Anja?
Thank you, Claire. The information available with the LEI reference data is referred to as Level 1 data. Essentially, it provides business card information and answers the question, who is who. The LEI Common Data File, or CDF format, defines how LEI issuing organizations report their LEI and Level 1 reference data. In other words, the LEI CDF format ensures that you find consistent information in each LEI record. The CDF standard was originally developed by the LEI Regulatory Oversight Committee and mandated for all LEI issuing organizations in August 2014. GLEIF has since assumed responsibility for maintaining the standard and developing it further. In May 2017, GLEIF published the updated LEI CDF format version 2.1. The new version of the LEI CDF format improves usability of the business card information included with each LEI record. The business card information contained in each LEI record, when based on the updated LEI CDF format version 2.1, provides an improved user experience for a number of reasons. The data quality is higher and data content is more reliable. It provides unambiguous information based on clean and fully documented data. The data integrates more easily into databases or systems. As a result of the information being structured more clearly, the data is easier to interpret by both humans and machines. Richer data helps to categorize legal entities and therefore allows for more insight into the global marketplace. GLEIF will continue to make Level 1 data available based on both the LEI CDF format version 1.0 and the LEI CDF format version 2.1 for a transitional period until 1st of May 2018. This gives LEI data users sufficient lead time to adapt processes and operations in line with the new LEI CDF format version 2.1. We will now update you on the ongoing process of enhancing the LEI data pool. We are doing this by including so-called Level 2 data to answer the question, who owns whom? Here to give you the details in GLEIF's Head of IT Development and Operations, Christoph Schneider.
Thank you, Anja. In May 2017, we began the process of enhancing the LEI data pool by including Level 2 data to answer the question of who owns whom. This data allows direct and ultimate parents of a legal entity to be identified and vice versa. This, in turn, enables the entities owned by individual companies to be researched. LEI issuing organizations collect and validate Level 2 data for LEIs that existed before May 2017 at the same time as their annual LEI renewal takes place. At renewal, the reference data connected to an LEI is revalidated by the managing LEI issuer against a third-party source. We expect that Level 2 data for the complete active LEI population will be available during the first half of 2018. This is because it will be a full year, also representing an annual LEI renewal cycle since the collection of Level 2 data started. Once parent information for the entire LEI population is available, GLEIF will provide a unique and free data source that allows corporate dots to be connected globally based on open, standardized, and high-quality LEI data. In addition to the business card information on LEI registrants, we publish the following information relevant to who owns whom. Records related to direct and ultimate parents that have an LEI. If the direct and/or ultimate parent of an LEI registrant has obtained an LEI, the child legal entity is obliged to provide the LEI of its direct and ultimate parent to the LEI issuing organization. We publish files, updated daily, which include the LEIs of the direct and ultimate parent of an LEI registrant where applicable. Records related to exceptions reporting by legal entities. We also publish files which include records that refer to a child legal entity and its direct or ultimate parent, mentioning the type of reporting exception. Examples of reporting exceptions include instances when there is no parent entity or the child legal entity opts out of reporting for exceptional reasons. These reasons are: there is no parent according to the definition used, legal obstacles prevent the provision or publication of this information, or the disclosure of this information would be detrimental to the legal entity or the relevant parent, or parent entities do not have an LEI. If the direct and/or ultimate parent of an LEI registrant does not have an LEI, the child legal entity is obliged to report reference data on its direct and ultimate parents to the LEI issuing organization. During an initial phase, the reference data reported by a child entity for its direct and ultimate parents will not be published.
Thank you for this update, Christoph. You can find a summary of all Level 2 data gathered so far in the quarterly Global LEI System Business Report published by GLEIF. Christoph, you mentioned earlier the different types of direct and ultimate parent information reporting. I'll highlight the latest trends based on the business report of the third quarter 2017. As of this date, about 147,000 LEI registrants, or about 26% of the total LEI population, had already reported information on direct and ultimate parents. This is an increase of 11% from the previous quarter. We also identified the following trends. 6% reported parents with an LEI. This allows for the maximum visibility as you can build the corporate structure using the LEI data. 38% reported parents which don't yet have an LEI. 52% indicated they do not have a parent according to the accounting consolidation definition used, and 4% opted out of providing any information on direct and ultimate parents due to legal obstacles. Now that we have outlined the latest initiatives to enhance information included within the LEI data pool, let's discuss how the data users can easily access this information. Back to you, Christoph.
As mentioned by Claire earlier, one of GLEIF's key responsibilities is to provide access to the full global LEI repository free of charge to users via an open data license. The GLEIF concatenated files provide a way to access the LEI data pool. Since May 2017, we publish 4 separate concatenated files daily, which can be downloaded free of charge from the GLEIF website. These files include specific information on legal entities that have obtained an LEI based on the relevant common data file format. Each file contains Level 1 data on who is who, or Level 2 data on who owns whom. The concatenated files include LEIs and related LEI reference data published by the LEI issuing organizations. GLEIF doesn't modify any of the original source files provided by the LEI issuers. So, in summary, via the concatenated files, we collate and allow users to download the content of the individual files as published by LEI issuing organizations, which list LEIs issued to legal entities and related LEI reference data. You can also access and search the complete LEI data pool using the web-based LEI search tool developed by GLEIF. This search function is available on the GLEIF website. This tool is a sophisticated, easy-to-use search engine. Results are presented in the web browser or in various other formats for further processing. For example, Excel, CSV, XML, and JSON. Other features that ensure user-friendliness include predefined queries, comparison of results for multiple LEIs, and the ability to store complex queries for recurrent searches. In 2018, once Level 2 data becomes more broadly available, GLEIF will update its LEI search tool. The LEI search function will display Level 2 relationship data alongside Level 1 business card data with the search results. This will be done in a convenient way, which is easy to access for users. In addition, it will be possible to search for Level 2 data. GLEIF will also add data on historical changes to the LEI search function. This will allow users to search for historical values of LEI reference data, such as previous names of an organization. A time machine feature will let users display the status of a legal entity as it was registered on a certain day in the past. Last but not least, GLEIF also plans to make all features of the LEI Search tool available in an application programming interface, also known as API. This will allow software developers to use the functionality in their systems. In September 2017, we launched the GLEIF LEI Lookup API. It allows developers to directly access the complete LEI data pool in real time to enable on-demand checks for changes to specific LEI records. Importantly, the API presents this in a convenient, easy-to-read format. The application responds to the real market need of LEI stakeholders to include LEI data in automated processes. The GLEIF LEI Lookup API makes it possible to submit one request for up to 200 LEI records included in the global LEI index. As a result, data users can now quickly retrieve information on specific LEIs instead of having to download the file comprising the entire LEI population or to manually search for individual records. By integrating LEI lookup functionality into in-house systems using the API, you can support a wide range of processes, including, for example, know your customer due diligence, client onboarding, or compliance. The application will continue to evolve based on feedback received from stakeholders. Use of the API is free of charge and does not require registration. Claire?
Thank you, Christoph. So today we've already updated you on some of the work GLEIF is carrying out to enhance the LEI data pool information and to assure easy and free of charge access to users. Here at GLEIF, however, we believe that simply gathering large amounts of data will not in and of itself serve to increase transparency across the global marketplace. Rather, what's needed is a free online source that provides open, standardized, and high-quality legal entity reference data. I will now give the floor again to Anja, who will share her insights on how we ensure continuous improvement of the LEI data quality. Anja?
Thank you, Claire. The Financial Stability Board has reiterated that global LEI adoption supports higher quality and accuracy of financial data overall. GLEIF is responsible for monitoring and ensuring the high quality of LEI data. In cooperation with its partners in the global LEI system, GLEIF focuses on optimizing the quality, reliability, and usability of LEI data. This empowers market participants to benefit from the wealth of information available within the LEI population. Our data quality management goal is to provide trusted, open, and reliable LEI and legal entity reference data. To this end, GLEIF has defined, in close dialogue with the LEI Regulatory Oversight Committee and the LEI issuing organizations, a set of measurable quality criteria to clarify the concept of data quality relative to the LEI population. For this, we have used standards developed by the International Organization for Standardization. Example criteria include the completeness, comprehensiveness, and integrity of the LEI data records. By instituting a set of defined quality criteria, we have established a transparent and objective benchmark to assess the level of data quality within the global LEI system. In addition, we have defined 132 data quality checks. Software developed by GLEIF performs daily checks on the LEI data records made available by the LEI issuing organizations against the defined quality criteria. A data quality cycle is used to achieve the data quality management goal. This slide shows a series of assigned quality gates through which each data quality cycle step is performed. GLEIF has also developed a methodology to score the level of LEI data quality. The LEI Total Data Quality Score represents the percentage of LEI data records that meet the defined quality criteria during the reporting period. Details on the methodology applied to measure data quality in the global LEI system are available on the GLEIF website. Another key feature that distinguishes the LEI from other proprietary entity identifiers is that we provide complete transparency regarding the level of data quality achieved. GLEIF publishes monthly data quality reports. These summarize our assessments of the level of data quality in the global LEI system based on the methodology outlined above. The global LEI data quality reports demonstrate the overall level of data quality achieved in the global LEI system. The LEI issuer data quality reports analyze the level of data quality achieved by the individual LEI issuing organizations. We make the data quality reports available for download on the GLEIF website. The latest assessment performed on the 31st of October 2017 shows that the total data quality score remained above 99%, even though almost 100,000 new LEIs were issued in this month. This is the highest number of newly issued LEIs in 1 month since GLEIF started monitoring data quality in January 2016. The report also shows that the majority of the LEI issuers meet the required quality level. In 2017, we have demonstrated that performance regarding consistency and plausibility of the data has improved, despite the number of newly issued LEIs being 10 times higher than in 2016. We propose to further enhance the GLEIF data quality management program in a number of ways. Additional features will include the document data quality rule setting version 2.0 to be published in early December 2017 is fully machine readable. Data quality checks for level 2 data on who owns whom will be introduced. The monthly reports will also provide details on the underlying data quality checks. In addition, we will publish a worldwide LEI data quality heat map. Back to you, Claire.
Thank you, Anja. So we started today's webinar with a reminder to meet LEI requirements which apply from 3rd January 2018 with the mandate of MiFID II or MiFIR. To date, discussion related to LEI rollout has indeed largely focused on initiatives relevant to legal entity identification in regulatory reporting and supervision. Yet, while organizations across the globe need to keep on the right side of regulators, of course, they also need the tools to make smarter, less costly, and more reliable decisions about who to do business with. We are convinced that the LEI can significantly contribute to meeting this objective. For this reason, McKinsey & Company has been working with GLEIF to examine the potential use cases of the LEI in streamlining entity verification processes. In the white paper titled The Legal Entity Identifier, The Value of the Unique Counterparty ID, that was published jointly by McKinsey & Company and GLEIF in October of 2007, we further explore this topic. Stefan is here to tell you about the findings detailed in the white paper. Stefan?
Thank you, Claire, and I'm really excited to tell you about this project which we conducted in 2017. As you all know, business all around the world are currently grappling with how to develop and implement a common entity identification system. The process of gathering and maintaining related data requires efforts to be replicated across the market. We're basically all doing the same thing year on year. And this ties up our resources that could be spent more productively elsewhere. Business need a linchpin to identify financial market participants and connect the data. And so at GLEIF, we were not surprised that McKinsey estimates that broader global adoption of the LEI could yield significant annual savings. In fact, they estimated that savings in excess of $150 million could be realized within the investment banking industry alone, and up to another $500 million for banks in the issuance of letter of credit. Annual savings in investment banking would include at least 10% of total operational costs, for instance, for onboarding clients and trading processing through the use of the LEI. But beyond simplifying processes and ensuring good customer services, LEIs can expand capacity, enable banks to do business with clients faster. Investment banks typically employ 1,000 to 1,500 full-time equivalents who focus on onboarding. Onboarding a capital markets client takes an average of unbelievable 120 days, according to McKinsey. All such activities could be simplified and streamlined if LEI use were more broadly adopted throughout the life cycle of the client relationship. There are two broad areas in which the LEI has business value to collectively reduce the time spent on identifying counterparties and improving the reliability of information. Firstly, the reduction of transactional and operational friction, both within and among organizations. For example, within an organization, the use of the LEI can facilitate more efficient, precise communication among functional business units. Across different systems and organizations, the LEI can simplify and expedite reconciliation, enabling faster identity verification when using multiple data sources. Secondly, it increases the accessibility and traceability of important information related to the background of a legal entity in a transaction. For example, commercial credit providers could use the LEI to verify an entity's ownership structure before granting a credit. Banks could use them to match multiple legal documents to a client when processing a specific transaction. The McKinsey Whitepaper identifies 3 new use cases for the LEI in capital markets, commercial transactions, and the extension of commercial credit. And these use cases are especially relevant to large corporations, but also small businesses and their banking institutions, investment firms, and banks. For each use case, McKinsey specified the following benefits. Capital markets. The LEI's primary value is derived from reducing the cost of onboarding clients and of middle and back office activities related to the processing of stocks, bonds, and other securities trades. In commercial transactions, LEIs enable letters of credit to be processed faster and allow better identification of sellers on e-invoicing networks. And the extension of commercial credit, here the LEI allows for more robust and efficient know your customer due diligence on borrowers, as well as better traceability of information on borrowers from multiple sources. The research project also indicates that there are multiple additional use cases beyond the 3 mentioned above. By introducing the LEI into almost any process that requires identification and verification of a counterparty, and which has a manual component, you can benefit from numerous advantages. These include operational efficiencies, cost savings, reduction of time to transact with clients, and the collation of more reliable information. The process of being able to identify counterparties more easily will open the door to further automation and digitalization across financial and commercial transactions globally. So please go and download the entire McKinsey paper on our website. It clearly illustrates the value of the LEI. However, its broad application and adoption depends on the creation of a strong network of advocates. And here at GLEIF, we're actively encouraging organizations to consider the adoption of LEIs in their day-to-day processes. We hope that this paper will broaden the understanding of potential use cases for the LEI. We also hope it sparks further debate about their cost savings and efficiency and benefits. The potential use cases for the LEI extend well beyond the current uptake, and GLEIF is keen to explore this idea with other organizations in a variety of sectors. So, if you would like to engage us in a discussion on how to create business value with the LEI, please do reach out to us. And with this, I would like to give back to Claire.
Thank you, Stefan. On that note, I would like to invite all participants to take a look at the GLEIF video titled Get an LEI and Make It Work for You. This 4-minute film summarizes how the LEI empowers market participants to cut costs, simplify, and accelerate operations to gain deeper insight into the global marketplace. You will find this video on the GLEIF YouTube channel as well as our website. For our participants today, this does conclude our presentation. We will now respond to questions received throughout the webinar. If time restrictions prevent us from getting to your question during the webinar today, you will receive a response directly to your inbox from one of our team members shortly. I will start by noting that several questions have come in seeking guidance on whether specific legal entities in specific jurisdictions require an LEI relative to compliance with the forthcoming MiFID II and MiFIR rules. I do like to clarify that here at GLEIF, we are not allowed to provide legal advice. If you wish to research whether yourself, a specific legal entity, a specific jurisdiction is subject to the LEI requirements established with MiFID II and MiFIR, we really recommend you take as a first step a consultation of the website of the European Securities and Markets Authority, ESMA, or perhaps your national competent authority's website. ESMA has published quite extensive materials relevant to the implementation of MiFID II and MiFIR. We mentioned earlier today in this webinar, this includes a dedicated briefing on the LEI. This briefing was published on 9th October on the ESMA website. Similar line of discussion, we have also received questions from participants relative to what is the last day that I can apply for an LEI and get one guaranteed by 3rd of January 2018. This is, of course, the implementation date of MiFID II and MiFIR. And I will turn to Stefan to give a response to that type of question.
This is a really excellent question, even though I must clarify that there is no such thing as one specific latest date to apply for an LEI to be ready for MiFID and MiFIR. In fact, we have stressed since the start of 2016 that we cannot guarantee that LEIs will be issued in time for the application of MiFID II and MiFIR if registration is delayed until the 4th quarter of 2017. We're now in the middle of November, which means there are only a few weeks left. We would really urge you to reach out now to the LEI issuers in the next days, if possible, to obtain your LEI. And just to reiterate, with the MiFID/MiFIR regulation, investment firms should obtain LEIs from their clients within and without the Europe before providing services which would trigger relevant reporting obligations. To our knowledge, there's no conclusive market study or any analysis available that identifies the number of market participants globally represented by investment firms that trade in the EU. And this means there are no verified figures on the absolute number of market participants that must obtain an LEI as a result of MiFID II and MiFIR. Actually, a nice collateral by the LEI system that for the first time we will see transparency on how many market participants are out there. So, to be realistic, it's not possible to guarantee that an indefinite number of LEIs could be issued to legal entities between now and the 3rd of January. But be assured, the LEI issuers which provide registration services have truly optimized and automated the process as much as possible. They are standing by. However, the registration process involves the validation of the reference data. Quality is key. And now including information on direct and ultimate parents provided by the entity that wishes to obtain an LEI, and this may take also to several days of validation. This said, I would like to emphasize that the LEI issuing organizations have built major capabilities to handle the surge in LEI registrations that has been expected leading up to the MiFID II/MiFIR deadline. And to illustrate that point a bit, in August 2017, LEI issuing organizations issued 16,000 LEIs. In September 2017, they issued 34,000 LEIs. In October 2017, almost 100,000 LEIs. In the 4th week of October, the volume of LEIs issued peaked at 4,100 LEIs on an average day, but we saw days with above 6,000 LEIs being issued. This demonstrates that the LEI issuers are ready and able to manage massive volumes, and please note, without sacrificing quality. However, I repeat, we cannot guarantee that an indefinite number of LEIs can be issued between now and January 3rd. So please, impacted entities that do not yet have an LEI should go to the GLEIF website where we list all the LEI issuers. Please choose your preferred business partner and apply for an LEI now.
Thank you, Stefan. We're going to go through a few additional questions. We received several relevant to the technical details on how to access the LEI. We mentioned some terms like GLEIF concatenated files and the GLEIF LEI lookup earlier. We can't go into the full details, and of course we have more information on our website, but I will turn to Christoph to give you a bit more information on the technical details.
You can find extensive information on all technical aspects relevant to managing entity identification with the LEI in dedicated sections on the GLEIF website. In these website sections, we also frequently mention the relevant email address to which you can direct your questions on technical aspects. We also recently introduced email notifications providing updates on technical developments relevant to the LEI. Specifically, the email notifications address, among others, the following topics: changes to the common data file formats, including the XML schema definitions and business rules for creating and updating XML files, changing relevant to GLEIF concatenated files, the GLEIF LEI lookup API, and the LEI search tool, and answers to frequently asked technical questions directed at GLEIF. Normally, at least one email notification is issued every 6 months. In the event of major or urgent developments, the publication frequency will be increased. If you're interested, please go to the GLEIF website, refer to the page titled Email Notifications on Technical Updates in the LEI Data section, and subscribe to receive these notifications.
Thank you, Christoph. We've also received several questions relative to the cost of obtaining an LEI. I'll give a response to that. So the global LEI system is indeed designed to encourage competition amongst the LEI issuers. The LEI issuer sets its fees based on a cost recovery principle. So what is the cost for the issuance and maintenance of the LEI operations for a particular LEI issuer? And we at GLEIF do not collect and publish this information, but from monitoring relative to around July and August of this year, we noticed that fees were from around $60 to $200 per entity. Sometimes we have LEI issuers that do offer bulk discounts if you are a large corporate or if you are an organization that may have many clients that are needing to get this LEI. So we do encourage you, take a look at our website. We list all the LEI issuers. We also offer an easy-to-use download that you can take a look at your jurisdiction or jurisdictions of your clients and determine which organization might best fit your needs. We also like to highlight that a legal entity is not limited to using an LEI issuer that is domiciled in its own country. Rather, you can use the registration services of any LEI issuer that is accredited and qualified to validate LEI registrations within your jurisdiction. Again, you can find this on our website in an easy-to-download format. We currently have about 740,000 LEI records issued, and this is completed by 30 LEI issuing organizations across the globe. And just to be completely open, also we at GLEIF, we receive a certain fee for each LEI that is issued or renewed, and that is $19. With further growth, we expect that both GLEIF and the LEI issuers can continue to reduce fees. Okay. And we'll move to another question, and this is relative to the joint McKinsey and GLEIF white paper that Stefan discussed towards the end of our presentation. And specifically, there is a question on the amount of monies that were indicated that could be saved, and this was up to $150 million. And a question if GLEIF could please elaborate on that amount. I'll turn to Stefan to give a recap on that.
I'd love to. This is a good question. In fact, I will now cite from the joint McKinsey and Company and GLEIF white paper to give you the very details. So based on its capital markets trade processing survey, McKinsey estimates that approximately 1/3 of the industry's operating costs of $5 billion is spent on activities such as client onboarding, client trade reconciliations, trade allocations to clients, and verification of client reference data. We estimate that introducing the LEI into capital market onboarding and securities trade processing could reduce annual trade processing and onboarding costs by 10% in average. This would lead to a 3.5% reduction in overall capital markets operations costs, amounting to over $150 million in annual savings for the global investment banking industry alone. And please remember, the McKinsey's paper also spoke about another 500 million savings in core banking.
Thank you, Stefan. Well, we are at the end of our webinar time. I would like to notify for those of you that are looking for the PowerPoint that was presented today, it will be available on the GLEIF website. We will also email it to all attendees. If you have submitted a question during the webinar, which we were not able to get to during the Q&A session, please be assured that you will receive a response direct to your inbox from a GLEIF representative shortly. I would like to convey my thanks on behalf of the GLEIF team to everyone who has attended today's webinar. We do hope that it has been of interest and of use to you. And lastly, we very much welcome your feedback on today's webinar, including suggestions for future improvements. We welcome your comments. Please email them directly to us at info@gleif.org. Many thanks to everyone again for your attendance, and goodbye on behalf of GLEIF. Thank you.